Hello, this is Serrano Keith Baldeo. Almost forgot my own name for Texas Justice Review. And today we want to talk about judges that are being targeted for the next election. So I have a friend, I hope she's still my friend after this, that was trying to tell me about corruption inside the judicial system. And we're talking about the filing system here. And I was able to find out that yes, there is corruption, definitely 100%, in trying to first take out certain judges. And here's how they're going to do it. And it didn't hit me because I go to these events and I meet a lot of judges at these events, and some of these judges are nice, and I follow cases and I have my own cases. And you'd want to think that the justice system is fair and just, and they distribute cases fairly, but they don't. They do not distribute cases fairly. And I can attest to that. It took a while since this lady was trying to tell me they fixed the system. So here's what I believe happened, and here's what she believes happened, and I think it's genuine. I'm so used to corruption, and I try to get away from it, but that it's not. But here it is in my face. So here's what's happening. I did another video about the tales of the two judges, and they've got the same case. Here's what I think happened. I think they're setting up the independent judges in Dallas for removal. So there's a group of judges, and they're part of the same posse, the same alliance, the same clan, the same, gang, the same political gangsters, political mafiosos, whatever you want to call them, they're here. They're here in Dallas, Texas. And this group of judges align themselves only to those in that circle. So I had a couple of cases that went to the appeals court, and the tales of the two judges that I did is directly, I believe it was directly used to take out two of the independent judges. And here's what I think happened. And this was stressed to me by this woman who I hope is still my friend, because she's not angry that I didn't get it. So her sister is one of the targets. I'm going to mention any names, at least on this show. So there was a case that went to, let's say, Judge A, right? And Judge A ruled as though the appellate court will rule. The appellate court rules in cases like if you file something and it's not filed correctly, you miss one thing. I mean, you miss just one line, one appendix, one context, one evidence is in the wrong place, they will send that back to you. Their rules are so tough, it's just incredible. And I'm a pro se filing in that court, and twice they send it back to me saying you did not file this the right way. So anyway, in the previous video with the tales of two judges, the first judge ruled with three criteria on an attorney who was sued for fraud, attorney VW, we'll call her, and she went to Judge A. Judge A ruled that you needed three criteria. You need to fix this. It's not filed. I think it was the clerk itself that sent it back, because it says the county clerk that governs all the judges, or notified one of the other judges. And it sent it back to the lawyer saying, you need to fix these three things before you send it back to us. She didn't. Matter of fact, she ignored the first notice, ignored the second notice, ignored the third notice from Judge A's or the court clerk to refile this. We haven't accepted your case, so you're in default. Even though it's filed in the system, the judge is saying it's not accepted. But I filed it, but it's not accepted. Because even though you filed it and you put it on the docket, my court is not accepting it because it's not filed properly. Three criteria have to be corrected, and then you refile it. When I went to the appeals court, I corrected my stuff. I listened to the court, and they still send it back the third time because they told me that when we do the search bar in the PDF, we couldn't find an evidence. I'm like, scroll down. I've got all my 10 evidence right there. Just scroll down. They didn't want it. You have to set up even your PDF to search. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So anyway, Judge A did what the appeals court did. So Judge A and Judge C, we'll call Judge A and Judge A2, Judge A1 and Judge A2, conspired with a judge named Michael Snipes to send the tort case back to family court, even though it's illegal to do so because family court only does separation of property. They send it back there because he called them and said, send it back. And while they're holding it there, now I tried to appeal it, and they told me you cannot appeal a case unless there's a final default and there's a final judgment or a final decree, and then you can do an appeal on it. But right now, you have to file a lawsuit basically against that family court with the clerk, and then she'll bring it back because it's not a family court case. It's got no business there. So anyway, I'm doing that. But what they did, and I'm so sure now, is the attorney was sued again for committing fraud, continuing to commit fraud in the exact same way that Judge A got it. Now, Judge A and Judge A1 and 2, where the case went back to family court so they can hijack it, they are part of the group, the alliance group, the special interest group, the clan. Let's call them the clan, right? So they were all part of that. Even the Michael Snipes with these other two, he's part of that group. But Judge B and Judge C, our outside judge, they took the same cases that Judge A1 and Judge A2 and gave it to Judge B1 and Judge B2, which are independent judges. So if it's a setup to see if Judge B1 and Judge B2 ruled differently from Judge A1 and Judge A2 with the 3 criteria to return the case, and they said, nah, we're not going to return it. We're just going to keep it and send it to trial. They're going to use that to say, we the judges, we the alliance judges, we ruled appropriately with the appeals court because you have to do things as a matter of rule. You've got to do things a matter of law. Even your responses has to be a matter of law. And Judge A and Judge B did the right thing. But Judge A and Judge A2, but Judge B, who are independent, and Judge B2, who are independent, didn't do it. They didn't rule appropriately. They're incompetent. They don't know the law. They've been sitting there for 11 years. They have a lot of missteps and look, they can't even match our judges who are experienced enough to know that when this lawyer filed this, we rejected this. And the previous thing, we talked about something called the court strives for uniform application of the rules. Disparate treatment undermines rule number 3, local rule of uniformity. Collateral escopital bars defendant from relitigating an issue determined in a prior action where the parties and facts are identical, and there's a case law. Even if the second case was filed in Judge B1 and B2 was timely, it's still substantially defective. So they sent 2 defective cases to Judge B and Judge B1 and Judge B2. So just in case they ruled against Judge A1 and Judge A2, they're going to use that against them. This is what's going on in the judicial system. Now, unfortunately, if Judge B1 and Judge B2 ruled, well, yeah, it's a general denial, but it's a general denial that it's the same identical case that Judge A1 and Judge A2 was not filed appropriately, and even gave you 3 criteria that said they have to fulfill this. And they knew they had to fulfill it, that lawyer. And she was sent 3 notices that she had to fulfill it. And what did she do? She rejected it. She ignored it. And then she came to you and refiled it without the corrections. And you knew she had to correct it. And you accepted her false response to the lawsuit. Now, let's just say B1 and B2 decided, I'm not going to listen to them because, they're new judges and they didn't do the right thing. The case goes to appeal. Case goes to appeal based on the fact that you have to follow uniformity in the rules of law. Uniformity in the rules of law, and there's a case law that says that the court must be uniformed in its rulings. And there's Rule 3. And then Judge B and 1 and B2 was supposed to also reject this letter. And so there was a hearing. There was a hearing last Thursday. And here's what it says. Judge B already told the defendant in writing, this paper, which is not really an answer, is not an answer. Fix it and refile it 3 times, she was told that. She didn't fix it. She just changed the court numbers and tried it again with Judge B and Judge B2. So, even if there was no appeal, that alone can be used against Judge B1 and Judge B2 to say that you did not follow the rules, and it was already an established ruling that this letter is to be rejected and fixed, because it says this is a paper, not an answer. It's a letter, not an answer. No answer under rule number 239 entitles the plaintiff to a default judgment. So here's the choices with Judge B1 and Judge B2. If you didn't do the default, they're going to get you anyway, right? So you got to do it, and they got to do a default before hearing to sell a house. If they wait and they cause the damage, because what happened is part of the damage that A1 and A2 was considering is we got to do the default, and then because the damages that we have to raise is part of selling the house. And if the damages is raised as part of selling the house, they have to order the family court. You can't sell that house because it's part of our damages. We have to award to the plaintiff. So judges don't really get into all that, and they're supposed to. They think they're very, very precise about how to do, and they got to do the law the right way, and then do it the right way. Follow the law, follow the procedure. If there was a car at issue in an accident case, and there was a tort claim, and they had to be filed in district court, that court is part of this damages, that this judge has to tell that court, you cannot sell that car until I resolve the issue of the damages. And if in fact I filed it, that court is part of that car is part of the damages here, then I've got to put a hold on that car. And if this person wins, I've got to award that damage to this person, which is the car. So in the event that Judge B1 and B2 decide, well, I'm not going to listen to that, they're going to get you. They are going to get you. They set this case up. There's no way that an identical case from the crew, from the clan, from the alliance would go to an exact case is going to go to 2 independent judges that they're trying to take out because they want more people elected to be a part of that alliance. So I believe this was fixed. And let me tell you a backup on this, that it was fixed. Judge Monica Purdy, I filed a case with that's supposed to be about, let me get somebody out of here, a case that is supposed to be, this is like the video with the little kid in the back. Monica Purdy had a case for an election case, and Monica Purdy did not want to do the case because she said, I don't time and jurisdiction. She sent that case back to delete. She didn't take the case. She dismissed it. I filed an appeal on her in the appeals court. Then suddenly she said, hey, she held it for 5 days. Then when I appealed it, she grabbed it. Hey, I has jurisdiction. I filed a new lawsuit because the appeals court said I had to wait till after the election. Monica Purdy put her case on stay or dismissal until the appellate court made a ruling. And then the appeals court says, you got to file it after, when it's ripe, when the election is taking place. So I filed it. Do you know that when I filed it, of all the judges to get this case, it went back to Monica Purdy. So here's what I think happened. There's an automatic assignment system in the courts, and it is working. There is an automatic assignment, but can you manipulate it? Yes. Can you go in there and say, hey, if this case with Kathy Stewart comes back, can you send it back to Monica Purdy? Yes. Can you say, if this particular case identical to Judge A and Judge B goes to Judge A and 1 and 2, goes to Judge B and 1 and 2? Yes. They're fixing cases in the court. There is no way that of all the judges, I get back Monica Purdy in the election case unless somebody says, we got to send this case back to you. And they went into the system and they reassigned that case to Monica Purdy to hear it, the right case, the refiling of the lawsuit. That doesn't make sense. And when the case went to the appeals court, I got to bring this up. When this case went to the appeals court, it went to Denise Garcia. Denise Garcia is part of the clan, part of the alliance. And let's see if I can bring this up. Okay. Garcia. Okay. Denise Garcia, who got Purdy's case, is part of Purdy and Michael Snipes and that whole crew. And I have to have an appeal to get rid of Denise Garcia, explaining to the judges that she and I got into it when she was running against her opponent, and her husband got into it with myself, and I attacked her husband because she was not qualified to be the chief judge, and I went after her, and I explained that. She recused herself, right? And then her friend, Tina Clinton, of the same clan crew, got the case as well. So I wrote back to the appeals court, and I said, wait a second, something is not right here. Why is it that these folks who are all of the same clan is getting my cases? That doesn't make sense. So I went back to the appeals court again, and I sent them this flyer. My old friend sent me this flyer. And this flyer, of all the people getting my particular case related to Michael Snipes, related to Kathy Stewart, related to these judges, there's Denise Garcia on the top, right? And she gets my case. And then the case came from Judge Monica Purdy in the 95th District. Goes right to her buddy up here, and she says Monica was right, and Monica reversed the decision and said, you know what, I was right. I don't want to fight with this guy. So now she's off my case. And then it goes to Judge Tina Clinton, part of the same clan. This is their flyer. This is how, in the end, it says right here, all the advertisement paid for by Denise Garcia's, let's see, Denise Garcia, Tina Clinton, and who else? Monica Purdy. They all paid into this one flyer, and they're all getting the same case. And now they're going after Judge B and Judge B1 but Judge B2. They're setting this whole thing up so they can control the courts. Yes, they are assigning case and sending cases to themselves and to their friends. And I don't care what anybody else says. There's the Chief Justice called Ray Wheelers. He's supposed to be a Republican, but all he does is give the cases to Democrats. Democrat Michael Snipes, Democrat Cook, Kim Cook, and everybody else that the Democrats go to him and says, we need your help. He helps them. He helps them fix the case. I got rid of Michael Snipes on my case. It was closed. Readers and Michael Snipes got together, reopened my divorce case 6 months later to help Kathy. That was with Purdy, was with Clinton. Now was with Denise Garcia. Now was with Clinton, Tina Clinton. All these people are part of that clan, part of that crew. And when I filed this thing with Denise Garcia, she removed herself, right? And then Clinton gets it. And Clinton ruled exactly like Denise Garcia. I will tell I will give you a 9-day this time, 9-day, because I went after her girl, Denise Garcia. Same ruling. I'm not going to tell the lower court, the trial court, not to evict you from your house. I'm going to tell the trial court, I'm giving him 9 more days to respond. You can go ahead and evict him, do whatever you want. Well, you can't have a trial in the trial court when there's an appeal going on. So Denise Garcia is wrong. Denise Clinton is wrong. And guess what happened? As soon as I filed this with the party information, the appellate court sent back the very day I filed it on the 5th. On the 6th, the appeals court on my cue dismissed. Look at it. This was sent to even, I mean, I have never seen a ruling that goes to so many people. It went to Monica Purdy, it went to Sanders the lawyer, it went to Ray Wheelers. He doesn't really get notice, but he got notice on this from me because he's involved. The clerk got notice. I mean, look at the stuff, right? Usually it's just to 2 people. Hey, we're dismissing this. I think they were afraid of me. I don't know. But here's what they ruled. They said, before this court is appellee's motion to dismiss this appeal. This is me, I'm the appellee. We grant the motion and dismiss the appeal. The reason I asked to dismiss the appeal that I filed on Kathy Stewart is because they were playing games. Denise Garcia was playing games. Tina Clinton was playing games. Monica Purdy and Nafly was playing games. And the decision came from who? Let's see who signed this. Mike Lee. Is Mike Lee a Democrat? Let's find out, right? So if Mike Lee is a Republican, finally the Republicans are cleaning the stuff up. Let's see, let's paste this. Mike Lee, Justice for Texas, 5th Court of Appeal. Mike Lee is a Court of Appeals. I just want to find out if he's a Democrat or Republican. And that makes a big difference in Dallas, Texas. So the lower courts who are Democrats, when it goes up there to the higher courts, the Democrat buddies, it's a Republican. He's a Republican. So finally, I get a Republican that decided either we're going to clean this stuff up or we're going to cover it up. So a Republican took over the case, and he went after he went after Ken Malberg, and he won by, I guess, 1%. So Republicans now are finding out that the Democrats are fixing cases, and even fixing cases to take out their own, because they don't want outside independent judges in Dallas, like Judge B and Judge B2. They want their own clan, their own crew. So that's why I think they intentionally sent the duplicate cases to these 2 independent judges. They went into the system and they fixed it. Because if Judge B ruled against the default of Judge A, they're going to use that against her. They're going to use it to get rid of her. And they're going to say that she doesn't rule properly, and she's been there for so long, and she's been in the municipal court, but yet still today she's making mistakes. We ruled as if the appellate court were ruled. She's ruling renegade style. We can't have that, running in the court system. So they're fixing the cases. They're using it to take out their opponents. But it's going to be a primary. This is not a Republican fight. This is a Democrat fight. And the Democrat special group is looking to take out independent judges that is not part of their crew. I like the judge, the independent judge, so I'm not going to mention her name. I've actually, I'm not going to say that, but I actually think she's a great judge. But you still have to rule by law. And when you see something coming across the system, you got to be careful. You got to be careful not to rule against the pro quo, because they're going to use that against you. The system is rigged. The system is rigged against judges. And anybody can go in there and assign cases to whom they may. Or a judge can call up another judge, like Michael Snipe called up Judge A and Judge B, and say, send this tort claim back to me because I can't continue with this divorce case if you rule on that, on that default that you have going on. And if Judge B doesn't rule on default, they're going to go after her. Yep, they're fixing the cases. They're using it as a weapon to target independent judges. And they can assign cases like the Purdy case back to her. It's not a coincidence that it's a brand new case. It involves Kathy Stewart. She messed it up. And when you file it back into the system, it goes back to her. It doesn't make sense. It's fixed. But now another judge got it. And that judge is also part of that crew, and we're concerned about that too. But let's wait to see what happens. And that's a Wednesday ruling. And incidentally, the same day that the family court has to rule for an eviction to seize the house, it's the same day that Kathy Stewart's representatives went and reopened that case. And it's the same day that Judge Emily of the 298th District has to rule in the Kathy Stewart case for fraud. Does that make sense? The very day Wednesday that Representative Kathy Stewart went and reopened the divorce case to evict the guy, who's me, and we do that eviction on a Wednesday, it's the same day that the Kathy Stewart case is called for a default, for a fraud in the system. It's not coincidence. It's not coincidence. One is at 9:30, one is at 1:30. All Kathy Stewart related case, both of them. Purdy related. Tina related. Clinton related. Justice. Purdy related. Michael Snipes related. All of this cannot be coincidence. So yes, they're fixing cases and then they're using it as a weapon. When you vote, remember this. And before you vote, I'm going to be upfront with all of this. I just hope that the two judges don't fall for this trick. If it's a default, it's a default. Go along with it because they're setting you up. You do something different, they're going to get you. If you allow the house to be sold without putting a stay on the sale of it to protect the rights of everybody, they're going to get you on that too. Because you allowed the guy's house to be sold when you had the jurisdiction to say, hey, no, that's part of my damage in my court. I'm not letting it be sold. The same guy that, was in the election, saying things, you allow him to be kicked out on the street, Judge B. So they're fixing stuff. But I'm going to stay on this. Anyway, nothing here is legal advice. Everything here is what we learn, what we see, what we go along with, and what we're reporting to you. Use it as it may. Please like, share, and follow, and we'll give you more stuff. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.